Hello, I am Heather, aka Planner Mumsy. Join me for a quick chit chat on why I have decided that I am done with Hobonichi. Stay tuned. Okay, y'all, so this isn't going to be some kind of big, huge, earth-shattering video. There is nothing specific that I am going to have charge against Hobonichi. I will say I have enjoyed using Hobonichi over the years that I have used them. But I'm going to be 100% real and 100% honest. Back when I very first started with Hobonichis, I made them work for me. They didn't 100% work for what I wanted, but they were popular. If I did a Hobonichi video on my channel or if I posted something on Instagram, suddenly, people were watching it and paying attention. So there was a certain level of Hobonichi is popular amongst the planner community, and if you're not using a Hobonichi, then you're irrelevant. And I'm not saying that as in I feel that way, because I definitely don't. But I do feel like there is a certain sect in the planner community that if you are not using some sort of Hobonichi, then, you're just not a planner girl. I don't know. But with that being said, I have made a final decision this year that I am completely done with Hobonichi. So currently this year in my lineup, I had 2 Hobonichi products. I did actually purchase also a Hobonichi cousin, but quickly realized I was not going to use it, and it was an impulse buy, and it was stupid, and I know myself, and I need to just steer clear of the Hobonichi cousin. And so I sold it when it was brand new and pretty much got what I paid for it, so totally fine, no harm, no foul. But I have these 2 planners still that I had purchased, and one I am 100% going to continue as far as the size goes. Right now, for my on-the-go planner, I am using the Hobonichi A6 Day Free. And you can see it is not really written in that much, which is totally fine. I literally only take this with me and put appointments in the monthly, and then I use the regular blank pages to jot down notes if I'm on a phone call with somebody, say for a doctor's appointment or something like that. I will write it in here first, because some of this stuff I don't necessarily want it in my planner, especially if it has phone numbers of doctor's offices and that kind of thing, because I do share my planners on YouTube, and I don't like needing to censor a ton of stuff if I can help it. And this planner just does work better for that. But I have a caveat. This is number 1 reason why I am done with Hobonichi. And this has been something that has bothered me right from the start of purchasing Hobonichis. And that is this. This to me is completely wasted space, and I don't like it. Now, again, this is my opinion, and you are welcome to your own opinion. With all these back pages in another foreign language that I don't understand, and conversions that I don't need, and so on and so forth. These things are the big reason why I am now straying away from Hobonichi. Now, why, or why does it bother me so much? Well, it bothers me so much now because new planners have come onto the market that have met my needs that don't have all this additional stuff. I totally understand that this is driven, the Hobonichi itself was created and driven toward a completely different market. Now, I will say up until this last year, Hobonichi had really missed the mark as far as changing its practices to really accommodate for another large part of their market, and that is, you know, non-Japanese speaking people. So for me, until they started changing and putting these quotes in English, I really did feel like they had kind of missed the mark on that. Now, they have since done that this last year, but I'm still gonna say this bugs the daylights out of me. I lose real estate in a page because of this, and if I'm on the kind of minimal train, I really don't want to have to cover this up with washi or whiteout or whatever. I just want a full page with no words on it, and I want back pages that I can use without all the fluff. So, like I said, a lot of companies have come onto the market that are selling in the US. They're US-based companies. Of course, they're outsourcing their stuff because that's the only way you can to get Sanzen Tomoe River paper. But because those other companies are coming into the markets now, I don't have the need for Hobonichi anymore. I don't have this. Really what drove me to Hobonichi was a couple of things. One, that they have the pre-done pages, and two, that it was Tomoe River paper. Those were the things that drew me. Now, as far as the weeks go, I have used weeks for years and years, but this year, this week's, and this is an English version, this week's has mostly sat empty. And to me, that's just a crying shame. But the reality for me is for right now, and I'm not saying that this size, as far as the week size, will never work for me again, but right now it just doesn't work for me anymore. The A6, I like a more square type book, bound book, and the A6 really meets that need, and it's nice and slim, and I can just use that. As far as the Hobonichi weeks goes, as you can see, like I said, I really haven't used it a whole lot. I am putting some stuff in here for my husband's business, but for the most part, just not using it. My decision is that if I'm gonna keep this particular cover just in case I do make the decision to use a Hobonichi width type book again. But I will show you, there's so many things on the market now. There is Kinbor, which I don't have any Kinbors for this year, but then there's like Freely Noted, and this particular one is just a notebook. But then there's also the Angel Shop, and there are many, many more. And also next year, I do believe that Sterling Ink is going to be coming out with a Hobonichi Week size planner. Don't know, I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be dated, and maybe she'll have an undated run later on in the year. I'm not sure, but the reality for me is I just won't need Hobonichi anymore specifically. Then I'll get away with not having this wasted space. Down here, I will actually be able to use my Hobonichi Weeks completely and not have to cover this up with washi tape, which I'm super excited about. That really, for me, is probably like the deal breaker, and the fact that a lot of these companies are doing the more white Tomoe River paper, Sanzen paper. I like that better than the cream. And, you know, again, there are just some things that were limiting factors for me for Hobonichi, and that again was another one. I prefer the white paper over the cream. I really am going to enjoy, I have liked that they started doing this in English, and I didn't need to put stickers on it like I did with this one. But but I'm gonna like having an overview that I don't have to sticker up just so that I can read it. You know, some of these things for me really were deal breakers. And again, there are a lot of companies now that are going to have the Sanzen paper for an A6. So I'm just going to use one of the other companies for next year for my on-the-go planner because this size is working for me. The slim form factor is working for me. Now, another thing that's been somewhat limiting for me has just been their options as far as colorways and graphics go. I don't know, it's just like the last 2 years I have really struggled with which one am I gonna get because I didn't really like many of the colorways and the designs that they were doing. This particular one is literally just purple. You can kind of see it on the outside, which is fine. But usually I would like my Hobonichi to have some graphics on it just because it was a bit of a nostalgic part to be able to look back at your prior years. But really, for me now, I just, you know, just a regular book, notebook, or whatever. And the Angel Shop also does have undated ones, and you can see size-wise they're identical. So if I really want to use this for something, then I have a bunch of these that I can use now, and I won't be purchasing a Hobonichi Weeks next year, which you know, I want to say 2017 was my first year starting with Hobonichi. So 6 years or 7 really in the making. And I'm saying on year 8, I'm going to be done. And I'm okay with that. I really am. I know that some people might think, oh, well, you'll go back, but I really don't think I will. I have been very happy that there are a lot of other shops out there. Sterling Inks, Common Planner, and again, you know, this is the gorgeous Tomoe River paper that I would be getting in my Hobonichis next year anyway, since they will be switching everything completely over to Sanzen for next year. So there just was no reason for me to continue with Hobonichi at this point. If, you know, for whatever reason they'd had the old paper, it might have been a limiting factor for me, and I might have said, all right, I'll stick with it. But now that all these companies are getting the Sanzen TRP paper, it's easy for me to make the switch, and it's a no-brainer, and I'm not gonna look back because I get the B6 that I've always wanted that Hobonichi never created. I can still keep my Weeks or my A6 or even an A5 because a lot of companies in the US now have A5s as well. So I get all of the things that I have wanted out of my planners that Hobonichi sort of kind of gave me. I am personally excited that so many US makers have come onto the scene and are making planners that work better for us here. This is in no way knocking Hobonichi, so please definitely don't take it that way. I have loved Hobonichi for what I've used it for the years that I've had, and I'm over it. And that's okay. It's okay to move on. And as a planner person, I am just saying to you, when you are looking at what will work for you, think about it honestly, and don't let the community or FOMO or whatever it may be, don't let that sway you and change your mind, or views or followers or whatever. Use what you know is going to work for you. And I just know for sure that I am 100% done with Hobonichi, and that's okay. And you know, it was great while it lasted, and I'll probably still look at the Hobonichi launch when it comes out this year, but I have made a very hard, fast decision that I'm done, and I will just have to enjoy everybody else's and see what y'all do with it, and yeah, go from there. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening to my decision-making process and just, you know, kind of going through what works and what doesn't work for me. And, you know, if it helps you guys glean some information, that's great. That's what I'm here for. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you want to continue seeing content like this, make sure you mash that subscribe button, like this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.